Hi, I'm Alex, and I've been asked to fill in for Sam today on this political YouTube rant video. I guess it's appropriate that I go ahead and just tell you a little bit about myself before I get into my political rant for the day. I am the publisher of an online, highly libertarian-leaning news website. It's called the Liberty Sun. You can find it over at libertybattles.com. I am highly into politics, highly into journalism. I am an independent journalist as well. I am a freelance writer, and I also write for a website called digitaljournal.com. So I'm extremely involved in journalism, in politics, in government analysis, all that sort of thing. And I guess if you wanted to put a label on me, I'm not really a big fan of political labels or labeling political ideologies, but if you wanted to put a label on me, you could, I guess, either say libertarian or anarcho-capitalist. Either one would work, I guess. In this video today, I want to kind of break down some of the important aspects of libertarianism and anarcho-capitalism. For those of you who don't know exactly what anarcho-capitalism is, it's basically grounded in the libertarian philosophy. It's grounded in the libertarian idea or ideas of self-ownership and non-aggression. Those are two principles that are at the core of the libertarian ideology. The self-ownership principle basically says that everyone, each person, owns his or herself, and the non-aggression principle states that each person, or it states that because each person owns his or herself, the use of force or coercion against another individual by one individual is ultimately morally wrong. That is why the anarcho-capitalists, such as myself, promote little to no government. And I know you think, no government, oh my gosh, anarchy. Crazy people running around on the street, setting things on fire, cutting people's heads off, running around, blood everywhere, fire everywhere, smoke everywhere, people running around naked in their underwear, and just stuff like that. That is the average interpretation of anarchy. That is the average connotation that anarchy gets. That's the average, when the average person hears anarchy as a term, that's automatically what they think. That's what I used to think until I started getting into these ideas of self-ownership and non-aggression and the roots truly of the libertarian philosophy. But what I want to touch on today specifically is how different systems can exist, how libertarianism and anarcho-capitalism and anarchy, if you will, are not political systems in and of themselves, and how other systems can exist in a free society. And yes, I'm even talking about socialism. Socialism can exist in a free society. Now, I'm not a socialist. I don't believe in socialism. I don't think it works. I think it's a decent concept in theory, but not in practice. But at its core, socialism, not as a political system, so to speak, but as a system, as a non-political system, and I know this might sound confusing, but I'll explain in just a minute. Socialism as a non-political system could exist in a free society. And those of you who are somewhat conservative or anti-socialists out there are saying, no, you're crazy, socialism isn't freedom. And I'm not saying that socialism is freedom. I'm saying that the very root of the idea, the concept, the system could exist under a free society. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you have an ultimately free society, that means that each person is responsible for his or her own actions. There's no government, there's no third party there to use or initiate force or coercion to get people to do certain things, to practice certain beliefs, or to go along with their idea of what a society should be, with the end result being force and imprisonment or death or whatever the punishment happens to be. There's nothing like that in a free society. So people are free to do as they wish, to go about their everyday lives, do as they want. Yeah, that means you can smoke pot if you want. Yeah, that means you can start a business with without worrying about taxes, and without worrying about regulations on your business and that sort of thing. That means you can snort cocaine if you want to. That means you can basically you can just do what you want, and you can be free. And I know that might be a scary concept to people, but here's what I'm saying about socialism. There are people out there who are still, if we had a free society like that, if we had a free and open society where people were free to do as they wish, there are still people out there who would want to have a socialist society. They could have that. Let's say in a free society, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 600, or 10,000 people came together and say they went in together on a piece of land, because there would be no public property in a truly free society. Obviously, there would be no public sector, therefore there would be no public property. All property would be privately owned. So, and the interactions among buying and selling the property would all be done in the free market by free individuals. It would all be done voluntarily. If you wanted to sell your property for a piece of gold, or if you wanted to sell your property for some random currency that someone decided to come up with, because that's another thing, there wouldn't be a set currency like there is now. There would be competing currencies. There wouldn't be a Federal Reserve System printing all of our money. There would be competition among the currencies. But if you wanted to just give someone a piece of property, you could do that, because it would be free. And technically you can do that now. It's just in a free society it would be more free, more open, less government coercion and force, or no government coercion and force. So back to the whole socialism thing. Let's say 500 people get together and they say they want socialism. Rather than going through a political process and implementing that on other people who don't want socialism, these 500 people can go in together, pull their whatever money or whatever goods or whatever services they have to offer together, go in together and buy a huge piece of land. They can set up their own society completely voluntarily, because obviously these 500 people are all willing to do this. They can set up their socialist society. They can do that as long as they want, and as much as they want, and as intense as they want. They can voluntarily pull all their money together and ensure that each person gets an equal amount. They could voluntarily distribute the wealth however they want to. But the point is that it's a free society, so they can do that if they want to. But they can't force that on me. They can't force that on someone like me who doesn't want to do that, who wants to keep all of his own money because I'm a greedy capitalist pig. But that's the point of a free society. The point of anarchy, the point of anarcho-capitalism, and the point of libertarianism is to have a society in which all of these different political systems can exist, but they exist voluntarily by the people who are willing to participate in these free market systems, as opposed to a political system that implements a full-scale forced system on everyone, regardless of what they want. So that's my take on anarchy and socialism. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks, and don't forget to check out my news website, libertybattles.com, if you want to see more of my political rants.